sleepy. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of ASMR Millionaire Money Mentor. We're going to continue on and talk about 2008. And as I mentioned last time, of course, in 2008, we experienced, as you know, the Great Depression. I'm sorry, did I say depression? The Great Recession. And of course, the root cause was excessive mortgage lending, where people were given homes that could not really qualify. You know, I remember some of my coworkers saying that they could not pay their mortgage. Well, let me backtrack. They could pay their mortgage, but they felt inclined perhaps to take advantage of the condition that the country was in, which is not probably a good idea, but I think a lot of people back in 2008, really did take advantage of that situation. Maybe they stopped paying their mortgage. They knew they were underwater. They owed a lot on the mortgage, but the house was valued at less than what they bought it for. Of course, that happened to me. But I think some people took advantage of that and was probably not a good thing. I honestly don't know how people could sleep back in 2008 if they did that. To take advantage of a situation in the economy is probably not a good thing. But in today's episode, I want to talk about how I felt in 2008. So you can compare perhaps how you guys are feeling today about your journey of saving money and investing and maybe paying off debt and just doing better with money altogether. And then on the next episode, we will be talking about a savings calculator that I absolutely loved to use. And also, I'm going to be talking about bear markets. Because in 2008, I was naive. I didn't really even understand what a bear market was and the historical relevance of bear markets, and how, as a late-in-life saver that I was, because in 2008 I was 42 years old, I was beginning to get some awareness into how I could leverage the opportunity of where our country was in 2008. Remember last time I said that I knew I was with a really good job, a really good company, I should say. And it was with this company that I knew I could fund, F-U-N-D, my savings and my investing. There were people in the company that were there for multiple years, and I knew that if there were people there for multiple years, then the company must be paying them really well. And I knew that in 2008, being 42 years old, I had a really good opportunity as a young, fabulous, and broke person that I learned about 3 years prior in 2005. If I made the right choices with just 3 major items, then I could probably get to $1 million status in about 15 years. In the next episode, we'll talk about calculators and how I started to realize I could put in numbers and forecast where I could be in 12 months. One thing you have to do as somebody that's new to money is transition out of thinking about the month and think more about the year. And once you transition out of thinking about the year, you can start thinking about 5-year increments. And then for those of you that have been with me for a little while, remember, you've got your 5 years times 3 is 15. If you make right choices in those 5-year increments, then you could be a millionaire as long as you have a lot of income. And you guys know I just had a modest income, so when I say a lot of income, what I really mean by that is income that I do not put into things that lose value, because that's what most people do. So if you found ASMR Money Mentor, I'm not saying that you have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars of income. Quite the contrary. As you know, if you've been with me for a little while, I was making about $40,000 in 2006. To today, I make just under 120, somewhere in there. But I knew in 2008, to get back to how I felt, in 2008, if I could master 3 things, then I knew I would make it. Number 1, I had to master food and dining. For a lot of people, that's a major expense. If you think about eating out all of the time and spending a lot of money, either at the grocery store or just dining out over the course of a month, not that big of a deal. Maybe even over the course of a year, perhaps not that big of a deal. But when you take that kind of behavior of excessive spending on food and dining out, it makes a huge difference in a 15-year increment. Now, of the 3, that's the least impactful, I will say. But number 2 is even more impactful, and that is, I knew I had to master transportation. I needed a car to get to work, you know. I didn't need a BMW or a Mercedes. In fact, I was talking to a friend the other day that has a friend that just bought a BMW, and yet he rents an apartment. I don't know. What do you think about that? That tells me that that person may not have their priorities in order. That maybe the BMW, because of the way that it makes him feel, perhaps it's a status symbol. But if you're renting a place and not putting money into an asset like a property that could gain value over time, then maybe that person's priorities might not be quite right. However, in 2008, of course, we know that the housing market collapsed. This condo that I'm in right now, that I own, went from $100,000 down to like $45,000 or $50,000 during that time frame. It took 4 years to be one of the most significant things, that it was either going to hinder my growth towards financial independence or promote it to happen a lot faster. You know, I had a Mazda Miata that I had for like 13 years, maybe 14 years. Then I got a Mazda 3. In what year did I get the Mazda 3? I'm drawing a blank. Um, 2012 or 13. No, I'm sorry, gosh. It's been a long day. I got the Mazda 3 in 2014, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's go back to 2008. I kept that car, the Mazda Miata. You know, I bought it in 1999. Still had it in 2008. I remember. Do you remember Obama gave those stimulus checks? For those of you that remember that, I ended up having my car repainted with that money. Oh no, I got a roof. I got a new roof for the car, actually. The cover over the car. All back in 2008. And the third thing I mastered in my thought process for moving forward in 2008 was I had to master housing. So food, transportation, and housing. And now, of course, you know, properties, especially where I live, plummeted. You know, lots of value, like I said last time. Trillions of dollars people lost in the value of their homes as well as in the stock market. But those were the three things most significantly I learned about in 2008, and I mastered the thought process of those because I knew I wanted to do really well with money. So I'm going to save the value journey for the next episode, so be sure to come back. So glad you guys are here. Thank you for joining me on ASMR Money Mentor. Have a good night. I'll see you next time.